is Rowena Dooley asking Star Citizens to report for duty. Rowena Dooley asking Sol Citizens to report for duty.
Slavering in Croshaw. A month-long undercover operation between advocacy and local law enforcement leads to 13 arrests and more than 24 captives freed. We'll talk to one of the investigators to find out how you can identify potential sentient traffickers in your system.
Atlas Tower shuts down after a personal weapon accidentally discharged. Tourists and Governor Council members were locked down for an hour as local police secured the suspect, raising the question of whether Prime should institute stricter personal weapon laws.
Hey everyone, Colt Legrand here. What a week for Satterball. I've got highlights and interviews from the key players and move makers, plus a look at what new material could be changing the way combatants think about their gloves.
All that and more on the next Empire Report at 2200 SET.
And greetings. Welcome back to the Soul Citizens. I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and we are back on Sunday, June the 25th, with a wonderful couple of guests. Two of the regular faces and two familiar faces who've been here in the past. Joining us today is our special guest. We have Nehkara from Relay RC. How are you, my friend?
Relay SC. It's Star Citizen, Griffin. Relay SC. If you weren't going to do it, I was going to do it. Nicole had that look on his face like, I'm too nice. She's Canadian, everyone. So it took him a bit to do that. So I was like, I was going to do it for you with Nicole.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. Thank you for inviting me on.
That's good, man. It's good to have you back again. I think last time you were on, you did the Saturday show with me. We had the big Q&A time. We had a lot of fun, so I'm glad you were able to make it. And I'm glad you're feeling better, too. You told me you're a little under the weather this weekend, right?
Yeah. We missed the show yesterday because I was running a fever, but late last night I started feeling better, so
good.
Well, figured I would jump on.
We're going to reap the benefits of your health in today. We appreciate you being here. and also joining us, another familiar face. Hasn't been here in a while, but we're always happy to have him here. The Noobifier, 13337. I didn't put that on the whole page, but I remembered it. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing really well, and I appreciate your invitation. It's obviously always cool to get live. I don't do it very often, especially development the way it's been lately, where it's just been news.
Yep.
But yeah, super happy to be here. Thanks.
Well, we're happy to have you here. In fact, when I contacted you, you were over in Germany at that time, right? Because you were doing some stuff over there.
Yeah, my side hustle.
Yeah. I understand.
A long distance side hustle.
It is. And in fact, the reason why, just in case you guys are wondering, I know some of you will see this show a little bit later, but we're doing it this morning because we were actually going to have originally kind of an international cast. And so we were trying to accommodate everybody by putting it earlier because a couple of the other guests we wanted to get were over in the UK. But that didn't work out. But these guys were still willing to, like, sure, I'll get up early in the morning. So I didn't want to throw their body clocks off in their schedules. So we stuck to our guns. So if you're joining us early,
I'm way off my schedule. This is early for me.
Yeah, this is early for you. Yeah, well, I'm earlier than you. So how about that? You know, in fact, I woke up late, right?
No, you were late.
I woke up late. I know. Well, listen, we are so happy to be here with you guys. So if you're catching the show early, great. Hopefully you'll enjoy it because we didn't put out any tweets or anything. But if you watch it later on, we know you'll enjoy it as well this evening. Real quick, let me go to Nehkara and to Noobifier. We opened up with a little video there that, if you remember it, it shows your age. That's what I'm going to say about that video. Noobifier, do you remember those when CIG was putting out those Empire reports?
I really miss, so yes, to answer your question, of course, yes, I remember them, and of course, I understand why media has changed as the game has evolved, but I really do miss how campy Star Citizen used to be.
It was.
Zero budget.
It was. We watched them kind of, I think they were trying to figure out how to make that thing work because there were several versions of the way they did that. But they would all, and for those of you who don't know, that used to open up ATV around the verse back in the day. We're talking back in 15, 16 maybe, something like that.
2016, 2017.
Which is pretty interesting. They only did a few of them. They didn't do it every week. They tried to maybe every 3 weeks you'd see it, and then all of a sudden, I think they did about maybe 6 of them, 7 of them, and then they went kaput. So they're different.
As soon as they introduced the brother, they stopped doing it. That's what happened.
Is that what happened? Okay.
As soon as they introduced the brother,
that's right. As soon as the brother came in, they stopped the following week. I noticed that. That was the man. That was the man. That's what it was. Nehkara, what about you? Do you remember? Of course, and we're going to talk about why Nehkara's here because both these guys have had tremendous impact in the community. I mean, they're not going to say it, but I'm going to say it because I got into Star Citizen. They were some of the first people I started watching. Definitely Nehkara first, and obviously Noobifier. We still reference his videos even on our show today. But Nehkara, you remember back at that time, right, when they had the Empire report. Was there any inspiration either way in relation to that, to what you guys were doing at INN?
So yes, I do remember it, and we definitely looked at it. We did I think we only did 1 or 2 of these, but we actually did like a competing report that was supposed to run like against the Empire report, and it was from the perspective of Terra, if I remember correctly, because those are the competing factions of the UE.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember those. I used to like those because it was good to see both versions, and it was really fun to watch.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Well, listen, we're going to get into this show. As you guys see, the title of it is CNN Citizen News Nerds. And the reason why I came up with that is not as a negative, but it's the fact that these guys have, up to a level, to me, what we used to call back in the day as old guys, they've gotten nerdy about it. They've really kind of taken this thing and gone to another level that a lot of people don't do. There's a lot of hard work involved in what they do too. But before we get into that and let you guys get to know these guys a little bit more, we do want to talk about the charity drive that we're doing right now with St. Jude. St. Jude does normally several different drives. Who is that? Oh, a person. Thank you so much for that. Shipwreck. Shipwreck gave out one. Is that what it was? Yeah, Shipwreck gave it. Okay, thank you, Shipwreck. 25 months.
And a person just subscribed too.
That's awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
No, that was Troop. He get that.
Is that who did? Oh, Troop did. Okay, boy, can't read my stuff either. I can't tell. Too many screens up.
Yeah, me too. How many you too?
But thank you, guys. We're doing this thing with St. Jude, and as you guys know, we've done charity fundraisers before, but this one's a little different. We started it back at the beginning of June, and we are doing this through October 22nd, which is the culmination of CitizenCon. And our goal is to raise $10,000 over that period of time. You guys have been amazing. We already are at $885. We raised just a couple $100 on yesterday, or $150, whatever it was. And if you guys want to contribute, as always, we would love to have you guys contribute for St. Jude Children's Hospital. for obviously their work they do with young children and families. I'm going to show you a very short video to give you an idea about St. Jude if you're not familiar with them. And after that, we're going to jump into the show. We're going to talk about the perks and stuff because there are some perks and giveaways that we're going to be doing as well. So let's take a quick look at that.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and YouTube are teaming up to help end childhood cancer.
In September, supporters from across the nation come together during Childhood Cancer Awareness Month to raise money for the kids of St. Jude.
And that's when YouTube gamers will be posting videos and live streaming to raise funds to support the life-saving mission of St. Jude.
At St. Jude, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because all a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Money raised also supports the research that leads to groundbreaking medical discoveries that St. Jude freely shares around the globe.
I can only imagine as a parent the relief that they feel when someone like St. Jude steps in.
I think it's a really good lesson for us to realize that we need to do more, and we can do more.
It is a huge step in the right direction, a huge step in helping just people and giving back.
It's all for good, and we have a responsibility, a social responsibility to help out.
Find your favorite video or live stream during St. Jude Play Live on YouTube for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month and donate to this amazing cause.
Your support will help St. Jude further its incredible mission.
Finding cures, saving children.
Let's end childhood cancer together.
Alrighty, so that's it. St. Jude's Play Live. So we want you guys to hang around, enjoy the show. We're going to give details a little bit later on what this is going to be about. But we're going to jump into the show right now. So let me change our, where am I at? I don't know which button I'm supposed to be pushing. Where's my number 2 button at? Oh, there we go. Here we go. Boom. I did a completely different layout this week. All right, look at those two faces. Okay, I've got to say this about these guys, right? One of the cool things, I'm one of these people like them, right? I'm one of those people that I work in the background behind the scenes. I don't like a lot of attention. But these two jokers, it took me forever to find 2 decent pictures of them, okay? But you guys have got to shoot some professional photos. So we have something of you guys. Newbifire, I had to go on your Twitter and dig somewhere to come across that one. And Nehkara, I had to go on one of your shows. What?
No.
If you go onto my Twitter and look at the banner across the top, there's a picture of me there.
Yeah, but there's something about that picture I didn't take. That's not the one with the cat, is it? There's a
no.
There's some picture you had that I couldn't grab for some reason. I don't know.
Screen capture. Windows, Shift, S.
Yeah, but I know, but I was trying to find something, you know, when you do screen capture, you blur if you're moving to, I don't know, but anyway.
I'm just messing with you.
I know, but anyway, I hopefully I found something that decently represents you. But I know that when you're one of those guys behind the scenes, you know, you get your Twitter picture. Okay.
It's a good picture. That's me at Monster Tech.
Yeah, I know. I love the sunglasses. That was pretty cool. So, okay, guys, let's jump into this and talk to these gentlemen. Let me start with Nehkara first. How did you become a backer of Star Citizen and Squadron 42?
I kind of tripped and stumbled into it. The year was 2012.
Okay, you remember it well. Okay,
I'm getting a flashback vibe here. What's going on? Yeah, exactly. So basically, the long and short of it was that years and years prior, I had played a whole bunch of Freelancer.
Okay.
And I had basically, it was, 2012, that period between when Freelancer came out in 2012 was just brutal for space games.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a couple. I think there was like an X3 game,
mm-hmm.
But nothing that really was interesting to me.
Yeah.
So basically, the long and short of it is that I was looking for space games, and I think Wikipedia took me to the Star Citizen Kickstarter campaign.
Really?
Yeah. Somebody had updated a Wikipedia page of basically space games that were coming out. And I was like, hey, Chris Roberts is making another game after he made Freelancer. And yeah, that was how I got there. And I actually found the campaign during the Kickstarter campaign, but I had never Kickstarted anything before in my life.
Okay.
So I was nervous.
Yeah. Understandable.
These were the early days of Kickstarter. So I did hold off. I didn't actually back during the initial campaign. I ended up back, and then basically I was reminded of it a couple months later, and I ended up I think I backed like early December 2012. So yeah, only like a month or so after the original campaign.
You're the first person I've heard mention it came from Wikipedia. That's something I wouldn't have expected back then, especially that early. But I guess because of the Kickstarter.
Some like super ambitious Wikipedia editor was making a list of space games.
That's interesting.
To be as I mentioned, there probably weren't that many to put on the list. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Noobifier, how about you? How did you stumble, as Nehkara said? How did you stumble into this mess?
Fastcart actually sent me his referral code. Just kidding. So spamming it all over the internet. No, in 2014, when I was at work, there was a guy that came into work, like a friend at work, and he's like, "Did you see this?" Because he knew I was like a big nerd, and I hadn't seen it. I remember playing Strike Commander. That's the F-16 version of Wing Commander. And again, at the time, it was mind-blowing, right? And I didn't even realize that that was a Chris Roberts game. I didn't care. I was just enjoying the game. And it's the same thing, Wing Commander. I think I had a pirated copy. Sorry, Chris. Well, didn't we all, right? We all had a pirated copy. Nobody had money back then. So, yeah, so effectively played through all of that. Loved Mark Hamill and all that. Again, oblivious to the fact that it was Chris Roberts. And then when 2 and 2 became 4, it was like, yeah, this is going to be a thing. I backed with again, Kickstarter. To me, it seemed like pissing on a fan, like throwing your money away. So I bought an Aurora, an LN, because I thought I fancied myself as a combat guy. And then, of course, the next day I bought an Andromeda, right? Because that's the next logical thing with FOMO. And yeah, so it's all pear-shaped from there, right?
Wow. Okay.
I have a question. I have a related question. Do you two have physical packages? Because you were around back then.
I have no choice because I have an AMD Omega.
Ooh, you're gonna get fastcart worked up. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh god. That's cool. That's very cool.
But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I definitely have a physical package. I'm gonna have 2.
I've got one.
The green and silver. But I'd have to take a look. But yeah.
Okay.
I know my first one definitely is because it was the original, what is it called, the Pathfinder package with the 315p.
Okay.
I still have to this day. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and Griffin, I just put in mind you, this is 2023. Being a nerd is not a bad thing anymore. So yeah,
that's true.
Program
I was just using it because of the reference. I agree. That's being the in thing now. So listen, what we're going to do real quick, and FC, do me a favor as we go through these. I'm going to take the odds if you'll take the evens, if that's okay, as we go down the list here.
Okay.
But I'm going to show a video to kind of show the origins of these guys. You know, we're familiar with who they are now when they had less gray. Or more, but now we're going to go back a little bit when they had less gray, I should say. And let's take a look at some videos that they put out in the past, because this will, I think, bring some fond memories back for them. Let's see here. Let me get the right button. Here we go.
What is the Imperial News Network?
INN serves the Star Citizen community with up-to-the-minute news
and summaries of content and updates.
We write fiction to expand our horizons and bring the verse to life.
We painstakingly analyze all official content.
And we bring it to you through written articles, podcasts, interviews, and video.
We provide deep insight into the game's design and mechanics.
We bring the developers and events closer to the community.
And we love Star Citizen, whether we're flying with our team or with our supporters.
Imperial News Network works hard every week to bring the verse to you.
We are the community's #1 source for all things Star Citizen.
And we're glad to have you along for the ride.
right, that's Nehkara's moment of embarrassment. Hold on a second here.
What is the Imperial News Network?
That was a minute ago, man. And
Production
Star
quality
Citizen
was
community
through
with
the
up
roof,
to the minute
man.
news.
Hold on a second.
And summaries of content
I
and
definitely
updates.
can't take credit for that. I was not the video editor.
No,
like all the graphics and everything. I can't even do that.
Yeah, I get it, but we're taking this back. What is this, like 2014 or 15?
2015.
Probably.
2015. That's 8 years ago.
Yeah. And there's some familiar faces in here. Obviously, we see Ben Lesnick. We see Jake is in there. Some of the old folks, because the Canadian Bacon, was that his name? That was one of your folks that was with you.
I think Dolvak's in that video too.
Dolvak's in there, and then, of course, some of the familiar faces that are still there. Nehkara, Eris is there. But what inspired you guys to, go to this level of doing this? Let me ask you.
Obsession.
Okay.
No, that's basically where it's at. Like, we did all this stuff because, to be honest, at least for me, I was doing it anyway.
Okay.
I started out on the Star Citizen subreddit, and I was publishing a ton of stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I then arose as a way to make that more permanent because Reddit is temporal.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I was doing tons of work every week on the Star Citizen subreddit in 2014.
Okay.
Posting tons of content, and
this is just next migration.
Decided to make it was back in the day. Wolf Larson approached me basically asking if I wanted to start a website to host all of the content. So yeah.
Okay. FC, I'm taking over this question. I'm sorry, I should have told you to take the odds because I know I wanted to ask about this video. So
okay,
go
odds now.
Yeah, take the odds. Yeah. So great. That gives us some idea of where you guys came from. Let's oops, let me say the wrong thing there. Let's go ahead and embarrass NOOBIFIER a little bit. Now, I watched your videos, right? And I mean, like I said, we watch your stuff all the time. But I decided when I went back into the archives, I was like, boy, oh boy, how much this guy has grown. I mean, you have like the whole broadcasting voice now when you speak, but I want you guys to hear him.
It's pretty sketchy. It was pretty sketchy. Like, I wouldn't watch me now, if that makes any sense.
I think
nobody should watch me now anyways.
Well, I watch your videos now, and they come on, and it's like, you're like, oh, you got your laugh, you got the little wee-oo, and it's like the production levels is so different. And here, I don't know if you didn't have your coffee at the time or what, but let's play this video.
So this is another question you have later on. It's like, how did the content evolve? And that is literally, people said, hey, I like what you're doing, but you sound dead. Don't make content at 2 a.m. Don't, so it makes sense. And again, it's the same thing, part of the shell thing. No one wants to hear people bash Star Citizen. It's already hard enough to enjoy Star Citizen with the community being polar the way it is. The last thing they need to hear is someone droning about Star Citizen, right?
Well, here it is. You guys take a look at the video. I love this.
Hello, YouTubers. It's TheNOOBIFIER. I am so excited. They launched another version of the anniversary sale, and during the last anniversary sale, I totally shit the bed. I should have bought one of these, and I didn't know it. So once the sale was over, I started to get hit by them in swarm, and that was the first time I realized how effective a very, very fast light ship could possibly be. So they just launched another anniversary sale, mostly Wave 2, I think for the VAT tax in Europe, because the company's changing to England. So believe me, it was like 2 minutes that the sale was on. Mars told me that it was on, and I was already there was already one in the hangar. So I got a chance to fly with it, and I got to tell you, I'm really impressed. I was concerned that I was going to be blacking out a lot more than I did, and I don't black out. Either that, or I'm just used to seeing the screen dim. This is the dedicated supercar. It's just retarded. I hope they don't nerf it, and I hope that its velocity and everything is exactly what it's supposed to be, because if you turn and hit boost, you are instantly going in that direction at that speed. You can see it's It's kind of cool looking. Well, it's very cool looking. It's shiny. They've got some awesome details. It only carries 2 Class 1 lasers, 2 Class 1 hardpoints and 2 missiles, but that is more than enough because your enemy has no ability to get away from you. I actually spent the first little bit just crashing into the enemy. So the basic statistics, all you need to know is 280 meters per second is its top speed. It can carry 2 lasers, 2 missiles, and the model is just sexy. I think they totally did it. They nailed it really, really well. It's supposed to be the modern day equivalent of a Ferrari, and that's exactly what they got.
Now, let me say this about this video, fastcart. When we listen to TheNOOBIFIER, we like him because he can be critical about Star Citizen, and then he can also be very supportive at the same time, right? FC, we've heard that before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I realized in this video, watching it this 3rd time, that he's still the same way in this video. His words are words of enthusiasm, but his sound is like, why did I pay money for this thing? There's like both things going on at the same time for me, TheNOOBIFIER, this is great. I love
Griffin, it. Griffin, all I got to say is, hi, I'm fastcart, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, I know, but it's great. I love to hear he's actually excited about this ship. It doesn't come across in the tone, but his words are like, they really knocked it out of the park, and I'm like, this is so cool to hear him like that. And look at him, he's embarrassed, you guys. I'm embarrassing him.
Yeah, you embarrassed me. That's good.
No, I love it. I think it's really cool. It's a different side of you guys, which you guys have evolved, and that's the thing that's really, really cool. Let me ask you this though: when you started doing these TheNOOBIFIER, was it just for the love of it, or were you trying to actually kick off a channel and really start doing something that was, putting out regularly?
So that's a loaded question. So we all thought that it was coming out in a year or 2. That's one of them. That's a no-brainer. It was a good time to start the channel and build up. I wasn't trying to make myself into like a tactical advance or whatever, but I thought I would give it a try. And I actually liked the process of learning how to make video. I like to dissect things and take things apart. So I mean, this is like the mega load of things to take apart, because you've got social media, you have what works, researching, you have to be accurate all the time, so you have to work really hard, and then you also have to be unbiased, so you tend to not watch other people's videos on that subject, so that you're not just going down the rabbit hole that they went down, right? You're allowed to have your own opinion. And again, watching the numbers grow, it's just super fun. Now, did I think it was going to be let's get one thing out of we know there are no Star Citizen content creators that are mega stars. We're all like, I think the most is still Morphologist, and he's got like 250,000, and then Level Caps and those guys there. So in the big scheme of things, we're all really, really tiny, and we all want greatness for the game. But again, the idea was to get your foot in the door, so that when it did go, that you were there, right? You were already ready.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that, because we talked about this in some of our previous shows in the past, about the anticipation that led up from 2012 to 2016. 2015 the first time, then 2016. And then there were a lot of content creators who literally just faded out over time. There are very few people who were streaming back at that time. Yeah, eventually. But there are very few people who've consistently, streamed over, let's say, the last 7-8 years. Very few of the familiar faces that we knew back in the day.
Burnout. It's normal, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true.
And TheNOOBIFIER, all I gotta say is, I'm going to be the first Star Citizen megastar. Just you watch.
You already are, fastcart.
Your OnlyFans account doesn't count.
All right, so basically they just answered this question, which was the goal of the channel. That was really what I was trying to focus on what got them started and what was their goal. Let's go ahead and move on, fastcart. I'll go to you next, okay?
Okay, so as a content creator, what made you choose to take a recording or journalistic approach in your channel? Let's start with we ended with TheNOOBIFIER. So let's start with TheNOOBIFIER this time again.
Okay, so the reality was, you always, as a content creator, I always thought it was important to try to fill a void, right? Do something that someone hadn't done. There's a lot of ways you can do it. You can go find someone that you want to be like let's say I wanted to be like Board Gamer. I'll go look at Board Gamer's contents, dissect how he does it, and then try to do it better. Beat the Board Gamer. But in this case, it's going to sound super weird. I was actually looking for a review on how to install a joystick for Star Citizen, and I had just bought a HOTAS, and Trip at the time had a video, and this is not negative against Trip, it's just we can all be great, we can all do content however we want. He had an hour and a half long video on how to bind a joystick, and I'm like, my God, man, like this is ridiculous. So I actually did almost my first, like the video you showed was really the first no BS, but it was all BS. Joystick, how to bind in 2 minutes and 57 seconds. So that was really why I went to try to take that. And of course it evolved. Where, like you saw in that video, I have a completely different mannerism and presentation, but the idea is still the same. I didn't want to pay for Star Citizen by myself. So I was hoping that by having a positive effect on the community, more people would join and pay for me so I could play.
Okay, great, very cool.
So you're part of the reason that Star Citizen has reached over $500 million in crowdfunding. Got it. No, I'm with you. But technically, you both of you are. But I got in the car with this one. As a content creator, what made you choose to take a reporting or journalistic approach to streaming or doing your content?
I think it was just natural for me. I'd already been sort of taking that approach. Mostly, I wouldn't say I don't know if journalistic is the right word. I was basically taking, I was summarizing a lot of their content. Back in that time, like it's different now. There's a lot less that CIG is a lot more focused now than they used to be. They used to put out a ton of video. And a lot of people didn't have the time to actually watch all of it. And a lot of it did have, relevant development information. So I was really doing a lot of summarizing. And I think it was born out of, like, I would be on Reddit and I would say, oh, they said this in this show. And people would be like, what? When?
I'm
so,
very happy to be here!
I started doing summaries of a lot of their content. The one that sticks in my memory forever, because it was painful, was I actually did a transcript of the 2014 holiday live stream.
Oh my God.
That had Tony Zervek spoke for like 20 to 30 minutes straight without stopping. And he talks at the speed of light. And I remember it took me days to do the transcript.
And I don't know if YouTube had the option of doing like half speed or quarter speed back then. They didn't.
No, I didn't have any speed settings. It was just
just to remind people back then, like CIG was putting out stuff like Monday, Wednesday, every day, 5 days, 5 times a week back then. So they were on the ball and transcribing everything. And you're right, like back then they were more laid back with around the verse and reverse the verse. I don't want to say that they became more corporate, but they became more focused. But put it that way.
Oh, much more focused. Yeah, absolutely. So we basically took that approach because that was what people needed back then. That was what I was getting a positive response to my content on Reddit before INN started, because people appreciated somebody breaking down what was actually like a ton of content coming out of CIG into something digestible. So we just carried that through. That was like the cornerstone of why we started in the first place. Yeah.
And to this day, you still have PTSD triggers about transcribing Tony Zervek.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love watching his stuff because it's amazing hearing him talk about the game. But man, don't want to transcribe that dude ever again.
Okay.
I both love and hate when he goes live for CitizenCon.
Oh yeah.
Because I know it's going to be like I'm losing hair just to try to do it. And the thing is, like, how arrogant am I to tell people that I can summarize what's coming out of his brain? Right?
Good point. That's tough. Okay. All right. This is going to be a pretty short answer question because I think they've kind of touched on it already. But this season number 4 here. Where's my number 4? Why my 4 isn't coming up? Hold on a second, guys. I got something going on here.
I can take it if you want me to.
No, it's not that. I was just wondering why it's not coming up as what it says. It says something completely different than what's supposed to be here. What the heck? All right. Well, anyway, the question was, did you have any other experience in any type of reporting before? Maybe in your personal life, have you ever done anything like this and so forth? Let me go to Nehkara this time first on that
one. I wouldn't say, like, not professionally, but I have been on fan sites for half a dozen games over the years.
Okay.
Obviously, this one's been my longest string.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
But yeah, since I was a teenager, I would do this type of coverage and stuff for various games.
Okay.
Right back to, I think the first one I ever really tried to do any coverage of was Star Trek: Birth of the Federation.
Okay.
And then a couple Blizzard games, Diablo 2 and World of Warcraft.
Okay. Cool. NOOBIFIER, how about you?
I'm talking like, I'm talking like way back, right? Like
yeah.
World of Warcraft and Diablo 2 before they launched. So
oh wow. Okay. That far back. Okay.
Yeah.
NOOBIFIER, how about you? Anything from real life experiences or other gaming experiences that kind of got you going to writing and doing this stuff?
So I actually, I misinterpreted the question. I was going to say what I actually did do is, because I was military before and instruction is a big part of our culture, a lot of that was foundational to what I was trying to do. But as you saw from that video that you showed, I was a really horrible person, right? So it's funny, what I wanted to say, what didn't work wasn't done again. Right? That's the whole iteration and baseline. So to answer your original question, no, I had no background. But tenacity, like the desire to improve. And also, there was so many great suggestions from people in chat. Like you have 200 or 100 views and one person tells you, hey, and this is not like, one person's like, you can't, even in that video, you can't say the word retard. Like that's not, you don't do that, right? And you can't swear, you shouldn't, you can, but you shouldn't. You don't get anything from it. So all of those suggestions were packed on, right? They were all put into the tickle trunk, and that all became more or better, right? Iteration. And it's the same thing. Some guys like, why do you sound like you're sleeping? I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not going to make videos at 10 o'clock at night. Check, right? So it's all of that. And you do something for 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't even need, so a funny thing is if I was making a video and recording audio and my wife said it's dinner, and that's not sexist, it's just she was making dinner at that time. I make dinner too. And I would leave and come back, you could clearly tell because there's a dysfunction in my demeanor. But now I can be actually very upset or very happy and make a NOOBIFIER video sound proper, right? And when I script, it's the same thing. I don't need a template anymore. It's just EDI, explain, demonstrate, imitate. It's all just in my head. So again, the tradecraft, if you can call it that, hilarious. It's good.
I was watching it. We showed the video earlier. I don't think I've ever heard NOOBIFIER use a curse word before. That was my first time.
Doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, I appreciate the thought of evolution too. I don't know if content creators think about it to that degree of what we do, honing it. I think there's some natural, organic aspect of it, but there can also be a very proactive attitude toward it. And the fact that you even, which some people don't do, consider what their viewers say to them. A lot of times people are saying all types of things, and we know that, but there are people out there who genuinely may want to see you do better, or may make a suggestion because they enjoy what they're seeing, but they're saying, hey, have you ever thought about blah, 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 blah. So I think that's very cool that you have, taken that input and it's reflected because your work, like many other people's work, is very professional when it comes to what we see online. So it's very cool. FC, let's go to you next.
Okay, so let's go to NOOBIFIER first. What motivates you to share Star Citizen or Squadron 42 content with the community?
So I think I touched on it a little bit. Seriously, I knew that I couldn't pay for the game myself. Even if I had $50,000 in the game, it wouldn't make a difference. But if I had 50,000 people that may have seen what I did and liked, so I never tell people what to do. I think that's pretty clear. You have to look at the project yourself and decide, is this what you want? Do I have enough disposable income to potentially lose money on it, et cetera, et cetera? Do I have the passion that it takes to watch this thing unfold? And I think that was a really good motivation. Obviously, there's the fame. There's no fame in Star Citizen. There's no notoriety or anything like that. It has really nothing to do with that. It really has to do with growing a community. Now I sound like a Hallmark card, right? The Discord. I love hanging out on my own Discord. I love hanging out on other people's Discords, sharing the excitement for Star Citizen, watching Inside Star Citizen, trying to manipulate it into something a little bit smaller, and then watching the comments of people come in that either say, "Noobifier, you're a piece of shit for doing Jared's job or breaking the game," or "Thank you so much for saving me some time." Hopefully, like it's supposed to be additive and positive, but again, you just can't get away from those people who may not just understand like what you're trying to do, and that's fine. They're allowed and entitled to think what they want.
Thank you. And I'm glad my referral to you worked out pretty well. So, Nehkara, to you, what motivates you to share Star Citizen and Squadron 42 content with the community?
This is a really good question. I think and it's evolved over time. For me, originally it was just sort of what I wanted to share what I was excited about, and I don't know. I like to go and talk to other people who are excited about the same thing as me. And when I did, I ran into like people didn't have the information in a reasonable format that they needed to keep up to date on the game. So my excitement overflowed into making that content. These days, honestly, it's mostly, I've made so many friends in the Star Citizen community. These days, it's mostly just hanging out with my friends at this point. We've been doing this now for
8 years.
8.5 years. So, at some point, your motivations change and evolve. And these days, it's mostly hanging out with my friends, chatting about Star Citizen, which we still love.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that becoming a CIG sister company worked out for you. That's not something that really happened. That's something that we reported.
We can just rest back in our laurels and watch our bank account rise, right?
Yeah.
You know what it was when they fastcart when they opened the Manchester studios, they had to let them go. It was too much. They said we can't have these guys on the payroll anymore.
Yep, that's what it was.
Yeah.
All right, back to you, Griffin.
Okay. Go back to you, Nehkara. Can you give a brief summary of the process? You mentioned you guys, and one of the things you guys were noted for in the early days was transcripts. Can you talk a little bit about that process and how much time it took to, just on the average, when you did a show?
It was brutal, man. So our process was essentially, I'll go to the height of actually, would have been Relay probably at our height, at the very beginning of Relay. But we had a team at that point of probably, for most videos, it was about 3 or 4 people who would basically split a video up into parts, and they would each take a part and they would work on a Google document and live transcribe basically as they watched. And doing that, we were able to get out transcripts like fast. Usually it was within an hour, 2 hours of the video going live, which is pretty good. So that would be a transcript and a summary, and we would have that up on our site. And that was, those were the good old days.
Now you guys were doing both video and hard copy. Were you doing video and hard copy, like on a website, like transcribe, like a transcription?
With transcription. It was mostly hard copy. We weren't doing video.
Oh, okay.
Our video traditionally was only like, we did a show once a week where we chatted about Star Citizen, like the show we do now. Really, we did not start out actually doing any video at all. We evolved into that.
Yeah.
But at the time, though, me and Eris were both spending 40 to 50 hours a week just on Relay.
Wow.
Which, as you can imagine, Didn't last.
Yeah, I just want to say that we talked about this on our shows. Relay is one of the original podcast Saturday organizations. So yeah, podcast originated with Relay. And I just want to say there was a time when CID used to use Relay for.
Well, let's not get into that. Let's not get into that yet. It's coming up later. Don't start telling.
Okay, all right.
That's in the video.
I have to cop to it though. These days, our process takes basically no time because all we do is we just chat about the videos of the week because that's what's interesting for us. And it's the least amount of time with our busy lives, you know.
Yeah, life does change. It does change. Noobifier, how about you? Brief summary of how you pulled together even though you do the no BS videos, there are some that you do that extend a few minutes. We want to talk about the writing process for that.
Yeah, so effectively, one thing I'm going to say is that if you're a Patreon backer, you can see the scripts before they're coming out, which is really funny because a lot of people are like, oh, don't do that because some guy's going to go read what you're talking about and then steal it. But over the last, maybe when I was starting out, that was a problem. But right now, people can smell a Noobifier video just by the way it's constructed, right? So they'll know right away. And I don't even have to worry about people trying to do no bullshit videos because people just I don't even have to do anything. Other people just go for me and say, stop copying Noobifier, which is really funny. And I don't care. Make whatever content you want, if someone comes along better. Anyways, back on topic, right? So it's important to choose a topic that you want to talk about as a content creator, because if you don't care about the topic you're going to talk about, then you're not going to make a good video. And then you can go see if there's actually anything there to explore. For example, we were talking about Cyberpunk coming out. They just released a big dump about a new DLC. Well, guess what? There's a video that's going to be coming about that because even though it has nothing to do with Star Citizen, I really like Cyberpunk and I'm super excited to see it. So there's the passion, right? So then you brainstorm and talk with others and try to figure out what's going to go, where it's going to go. Because you can talk about anything from different angles. So you flesh out a script, revise the script, make sure that the flow is logical. And if anyone's ever seen one of my scripts, it's all different color coded, and that's because blocks of ideas can be shifted around for flow. And then of course you take whatever B-roll you need to substantiate your video, and then read the audio, edit the audio, and then build the video to match the audio. I don't do the other way around where I'm narrating over things, because then what you're showing isn't what you're talking about. And that's like a fundamental of education, is that you have to show people what you're talking about, or else you might as well just be a podcast. And then, an audiobook. And then, of course, render, publish, and drink scotch.
Now, okay, so I'm going to focus in on two shows that probably for the community are the ones that most people are familiar with, and it's the ISC and SCLs. When you pull those together, what would you say your average time is from once you've watched the broadcast to your process, and then do you have a window? Do you say to yourself, I'm going to get this out in the next 4 hours, or does it just fluctuate? So
that sucker is my passion. I want to get my video out before theirs even stops being live. So if we're watching Star Citizen live, for example, you know that the last 10 minutes is just going to be pleasantries and BS. So what's going on is I'm writing my script as we go. So I have the basic intro and outro done, obviously, like that, and I'm watching it in the other room, and I'm capturing the live stream from Twitch and keeping that as my background. Around the end, I'll switch over. I'll also send that to our Star Citizen Discord, because they're also trying to render fast information about what just happened. So I'm already doing that, so I share. Video comes out maybe, I like to get 30 minutes after the live stream. Okay. Like after that live stream stops, so in total 40 minutes. And I don't always do that because obviously if the conversation's good, like if they have Tony Z on, that's a full show, right? But I love it when I'm able to get my video out 2 hours before they publish their own stuff. And that's just, it's nothing against Jared or anything. I don't understand that they've got like a whole procedure, but man, is it ever funny. And other people are like, well, where is this thing that like link me to the original content? And they're like, it hasn't even come out yet. Inside Inside Star Citizen is not so important because I find that most people will watch it anyways because it's a shorter show. But definitely SC Live is the one that I love to do. And like when I was just in Germany, it hurt me when I knew that show is live because I'm, you know, kind of like that sense of honor that I need to do it as a service to the community. It's not like that, but it's really in my brain. Like my wife will be like, "Hey, we gotta go shopping." I'm like, "Are you crazy? Star Citizen Live in like 10 minutes. Shut up." So it's really funny.
No, that's great. And that's why I asked the question, because I noted that there seemed to be this, your videos come out fairly quick, you know, and they're polished, they're ready to go. And I'm like, wow, this guy flipped that thing around like we just got finished watching the show. And but that's great. I mean, it especially, you know, it's funny you mentioned earlier, you were talking about Board Gamer. I know that everybody has their person that they watch for whatever reason there is, right? And sometimes when I know I've missed something, but I need to get caught up, I very quickly will turn to your shorter videos just to get a quick summary. Then there are other times when I'm driving in the car and I know I'm going to be in the car for 30 minutes. I put on Board Gamer because I know he's going to read everything verbatim to me, and I can do it and I don't have to read. So everybody has their style and
target audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And it works. I think everybody's got their little niche and it works out great. Let's do a quick throwback here. And I do want to emphasize something, Nehkara. I'm glad you said this earlier because you talked about Relay at its peak. And the reason why we're showing INN is we're just kind of showing the evolution of where they've moved from. And we do want to focus in on Relay. In fact,
you love to bring up the INN videos.
Well,
man.
you know, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. When we were picking folks for this show, there were a couple other people that we wanted that do the same, different type of style of what you guys do. And fastcart said, well, what about the guys from Relay? And I said, well, we've had them on before. I said, I really want to talk about people who are doing stuff right now that people know what they're doing, because a lot of what Relay's earlier things were earlier in the sense of reporting. But then I thought about it a little bit more, and I said, well, here are the guys that were kind of foundational to the whole style of reporting that we're talking about. And we need to introduce their work because there is something in this final video that I think is very important. I don't think you guys were bragging because I wasn't watching this show. I just happened to go back and look at the most recent show you did, and Eris raised a point that I think is very poignant to this show. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go and show evolution, because a lot of people don't know about you guys were around. Like when we showed Empire Report, we've had people say, I never knew CIG did that stuff. There are a lot of people who don't know that there were a group of people out here who put in 40 hours a week transcribing, into fastcart's point, to the point that CIG with no pay, into fastcart's point, to the point that CIG was reading your stuff. You know, I mean, people don't know that that's the way it was back in the day. So that's the reason why I'm kind of showing a little bit of this. But I am going to reference this video because you mentioned it earlier about how you guys kind of did your own style of Empire Report. So let's take a quick look at that video.
Hello citizens, my name is Eris. Breaking news on INN tonight as we come to you from inside INN Studios. Hello everyone at INN, we're here with Chris Roberts.
Very nice to meet you guys, and welcome. You guys do great coverage on Star Citizen,
So I first have to ask, you have heard of INN?
Oh yes, absolutely.
It would be really great if there was a podcast that discussed the lore from the beginning all the way through, and put it all in one place for the viewers.
We could call it Lore.
Oh, we've got Captain Richard. Start by talking stellar.fashion. Here, aka the Astropub, we have Grey-Headed Gamer on. And joining us in an already successful effort to replace Dolbach's beard, we have Disco Lando's beard. And later, the Sadaball scandal. The Arrows could face huge fines or even suspension after allegations that they scrambled opponents' comm systems. Can the struggling team stay above the scandal, or are they destined to sink? All that and more this week on INN. Your team, your news, your verse.
Okay. Let's talk about that just a little bit here. I'm going to mute this. Give me 1 second here. I wasn't ready for the muting. There we go. Another throwback there for you, Nehkara. When this came out, you guys were actually highlighted on one of the shows that CIG used to do called The Wonderful World of Star Citizen. This actually opened that show. Was there difficulty back in the day getting interviews like this with Chris Roberts? Because he says he was familiar with you guys.
Oh, we always had varying difficulties over the years. It honestly depended on who our contact was at CIG. Sometimes it was really easy. We had some really great access to some events. Sometimes it was like pulling teeth. I think media relations for a new game company is sort of a moving target.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Okay, very cool. All right.
I mean, David is so insistent though in person, in that persona that he takes on. He made his way into many an interview.
That's true. That's true.
Can I just, before we move over,
sure.
I just want to talk about the ability to actually talk to developers and how it has changed. I think it used to be, in my opinion, very easy to just reach out and talk to someone. I used to speak with Ben a lot, and they had all kinds of time for us, which is funny because like we're backers, but we're backing the thing that they're building. So they really did see us as the point source, right? And I think what really changed it all is Nikki Batgirl had a weekly show with Sandy. They were very, very good friends, and it was super powerful, very like enlightening. It was a real, like, it was almost like there was 3 CIG shows a week. And I know someone got their panties in a bunch and said, oh my God, how come this person has like exclusive activity with this person or access? And I wish that those people had to just been happy, because I could summarize, like I would have been summarizing 3 shows a week if no one had changed. And there's evolution and stuff like that. But we're like we're our own worst enemies when we're the community. And Jake did say it the best, that we're loud, right? I get it from their perspective. We're just bitching all the time. But the thing to remember is you're always looking at a microsection of the community. Everyone else is just happy. Everyone is just mowing their lawn, waiting for the next patch. But there's those couple people that are super triggered. Anyways, sorry for the tangent. I just wanted to highlight that again for anyone who's like really new to Star Citizen. We used to have very intimate access to developers, and you still can. You can, at Xylo, and he'll answer you, like at Lando, Disco Lando. Not so much anymore, I find, but Xylo's always there, and Jake's also super cool.
Yeah. There is a combination of what you said. Many people will talk about how they miss the what's the word I want to say?
Informality?
What's the word? Green, no, it's not the word.
Transparency?
No. The grassroots feel of the early days.
Oh, okay.
Where there was this big family feel of backer and company. The company was growing. It was small.
Yeah, but there was no us and them. It was everyone.
Right. And but to your point, there is a dynamic as the company grows where that starts to diminish. Just because their efforts and their work start to, and some people will say they've gone corporate, right? That's the term that people will often say.
They have no choice when they don't have $1 billion.
Exactly. And so there was some pain in there for us as a community, but if you understand it, that's just what happens. Nobody's going to stay that grassrooty, that down on the home feel when you get a company that gets that large. They have to make a very proactive effort to do that. And if you talk to people who play other games, they will tell you that having this level of access, even though people feel that there isn't a lot of transparency, there are very few games out there that give gamers the level of transparency or access that we have in this community. Or like you said, the thousands of hours of video content that's put out, the emails, all that stuff. It's very easy to say, wow, we wish there was more, but oh my God, we're actually, if you go over the last 10 years, it's overwhelming how much information is out there.
I don't want to know how many hours they put out.
And it, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Nehkara.
I was just going to say, it's only us old bastards that notice the difference, because we had heavy cream and now we have milk, right?
Yeah.
Most other people are just like, oh, it's fine. They know exactly what they were getting. They pay money, get spaceship, play game. That's it. But again, for us old folks that remember what it was, you used to have around the verse and then reverse the verse was so cool, because ATV was this big show, and then you get to ask questions about the stuff that they just talked about. It was like really, really good, and its production value was good. The second show, to me, wasn't that difficult to make. It was just a bunch of people hanging out and talking, right? But the problem is that people like us would go back you remember 5 years ago when you said this on this show, and like now we're holding people accountable to stuff that was grassroots.
Yeah.
So it's kind of as good as it was. There was no game back then, et cetera, et cetera. It was all hypothetical. But it also, even the stupid documents like the medical document and the salvage document, all these documents, people are still referencing that shit from like 7, 8, 9 years ago. Get over it, people. Permadeath is not what it was, right? Like, it sucks. I hate saying that kind of stuff because you should hold the company accountable, but at some time you just have to like switch off and say, like, come on, the game isn't even what was pitched. So anyways, tangent.
Well, it's okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Oscar.
Yeah, I just want to say, before we get to the next question, I just want to say thank you for the TheNOOBIFIER, and especially thank you for Relay and INN for doing those transcripts, because as a hearing impaired person, trying to understand Tony Zerfak when he's talking at full speed, it was, I don't want to say impossible, but it can be difficult sometimes, especially when you're using term I'm not used to. So I'm glad that they picked y'all for the transcript, because back then there was no auto closed captioning in YouTube, so that's why people might say, well, didn't they have auto closed captioning? No, back then they didn't, so they had to pick INN transcript. So I appreciated that especially. Thank you.
Yeah. And I want to say this now too before we go further, because I'll forget later. I know I want to say it at the end of the show, and maybe I will, but we do want to say thank you to you guys. You know, fastcart just said it earlier. You're not getting paid, and it's one thing to do things out of passion and love, but everybody's lives have evolved. We're families. We have other responsibilities outside of life, and you guys have really been faithful in delivering information. Sure, CIG puts out the official stuff, but there are so many people that actually do count on and did count on the work that you guys have done. So I want to say thank you from the community, because there's not a lot of times we get to tell each other thank you for the work and the dedication that you guys have done. And, you know, we hope you guys will continue in whatever way it is that you guys will always be out there to continue to give information and share stuff with the community, because it's valuable. And I know a lot of times we make it feel like it's a hobby, but there are other people on the outside who will say, no, I really do. If your stuff stopped, you know, we'd be kind of pissed off, you know, so thank you guys for doing it. TheNOOBIFIER, let's go back to one of your videos here. This is the first one that I saw on your page. It may not have been the first. I know you said that other one was the beginning of the No BS videos, but this one is one where you actually say, my No BS video is the first one I found. So let's take a quick look at that one.
Hello, YouTubers. This is TheNOOBIFIER. The last video got so much support from this community that I thank you very much. It makes me want to make more. Just a note at the beginning of this video, there is an error associated with this system called missing badge to purchase this SKU. They're aware of it and they're working on it. Just sit back and relax. Eventually it'll work for you. So here's the No BS video on the unmelting system. Question 1. Can I use store credit to buy back a pledge? No, you must buy it with real money. Question 2. If I melted an upgraded package, which one can I buy back? You may only buy back the original ship. Question 3. Can I unmelt ship packages and standalone ships? Yes. Any ship or ship package is available to unmelt even if it's currently not for sale. Question 4. Can I gift an unmelted ship? Yes. That's it. Question 5. Can I upgrade an unmelted ship? Yes. Because the package behaves normally, you can upgrade it and retain all the properties of the original package. Let your friends know what you have. They could end up with a nice Cutlass Blue LTI that they've been lusting for forever. Please like and subscribe if you like my no bullshit approach, and I'll see you in the verse.
Look at that.
Hello, YouTubers. This is TheNOOBIFIER. The last video got so much support from this community that I thank.
You know, you can see where this was starting to go now. This I know he's shaking his head, but you can see where this is going now. Before you had more of a free form kind of talking. Now you're starting to like isolate down to hitting points, which we see kind of come out later on. How do you feel about when you go back and look at this? Do you see this as kind of the birth of the whole no BS thing at this point?
So it's funny because, again, remember I said you're trying to find something that you start out by by seeing something that you like and you want to do better, and then it evolves, right? So again, Tactical Advanced, Star Citizen, Board Gamer, these types of content creators were what was there. So you're looking at what they're doing and saying, well, they're successful, so we're going to go do that. But then you eventually, and Super Mac Brothers and Grey Headed Gamer, that you know, shout outs to those guys as well. You have to, though, eventually find yourself, or you're just a parody of something else. And no one else was really, there were people that were summarizing stuff, but there was no one that was just saying, fuck it, I don't care about the algorithm, I'm going to make a 1-minute video, I'm going to make a 16-second video. If that's all that, if it's 16 seconds of information, I will publish a video that's 11 seconds. I don't care. And it was really funny. Again, it's not, to talk about the shill video or shill question, it's not about money. It's about getting information fast, because that's the way I would want to ingest content. I don't want to watch a 2-hour video about a 30-minute thing. So hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, it does. And it's funny that you mentioned about the algorithm and time, because when we did a show a little while back called Things We Left Behind. And on that show, we brought every show that CIG ever did from the early days, from Wingman's Hangar on through. And while we were recording it, Disco was watching the show. And he DM'd us and said, hey, do you mind if I jump in? So he came into the show. About halfway through the show, he came in. And he started talking about the production of all those shows and the work that went behind them. But then he talked about something that I've learned from. And he said, because the question is, why did you guys stop doing all this? Why, you know, we liked it when you guys were putting out videos that were blah, 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 blah. And what they said was, when they went in and started looking at the analytics on the videos, they found out that putting all this production time and energy into these videos, where people were only spending an average of 11 to 15 minutes to watch them, was overkill. And this was obviously done historically over a period of time, you know, over years. And they made the quote unquote decision, hard decision, professional decision, whatever you want to say, to say that this is what we're going to do. So that's why we have ISC, which can last anywhere from 11 to 18 minutes maybe. And then we have SEL for those people who want the deep dive. And once he said that, I was like, oh, wow, you know, and I'm thinking about, yeah, and I'm thinking about your videos when you talk about the fact that, you know, you have this, you know, 3-minute thing. It is digestible. And it's something that I've never watched one of your videos and cut it off. You know what I mean? I watch it all the way through.
I know people who watch it at times too, though.
Yeah, but
try it. It's crazy.
Yeah, but that time frame that you have come up with, whether it was organically or you thought it out or whatever, you used analytics, works. You know, I've never got to your video and said, "Oh, let me just turn this off." I still end up watching it, even if it's not that it's not what I thought it was going to be. I watch it to the end because of that window that you've created with that show, which I think is cool. It's very cool.
Some guy commented that it was hilarious that it's literally, hello YouTubers, this is TheNOOBIFIER, and then it's information. Like before my banner goes across, I'm already into it, right? Yeah. And it's good because I don't have to tell people to like and subscribe. They already know that. Right. They already know that I want that. They don't have to. I don't have to tell them go follow my Patreon because they're going to do that anyways. You know what I mean? Like all of it is, that's obvious and it's shit. So get rid of it.
Okay. All right, FC, it's on you.
All right, thank you. I just want to say that video is out of date. I hope you put up a new one because you can use buyback tokens now. But thank you. No, I'm messing with you. It's no BS, but it's out of date. But okay. All right. So next question is, I was going to start with TheNOOBIFIER on this one. What has been the reception from the community regarding the reporting? We covered it already, especially when Griffin and me took our presentation. But yeah, what is your reception from the community been like, TheNOOBIFIER?
So first of all, I'm going to say one thing that's obvious. If I make a video and no one watches it, there's no point. So the community, the people that watch the video, the support that I get is fantastic. Now, if you have 200 subscribers, your brain is going to, one person says something negative and your brain's going to focus just on that. And I'm not saying like my channel's super big, but now that I've got 70,000 people or 75,000 people, I know well enough that there's going to be 100 people that are pissed off every single time I make a video. And it's that thing that Jake was talking about, the noise, right? It's just like a mosquito in the background. It's not that I don't listen to it, but I always quantify. What you're saying is great, but there's 70,000 other people that think it's the other way. So who am I supposed to listen to, right? And you can be super polite and tell them once, and then they just want to fight, and then you're like, mute. block, right? That's what it's for. I don't have time to screw around with every Ken and Karen who wants to throw a bun fight at me. Anyways, so there are always people that hate. There are always people that don't understand and people that are jealous, right? People say, oh, hey, you got a brand new thing for free that you get to play with and you get to review. I'm like, that's fantastic. But people don't realize that there's 28 hours of testing and work and BS associated with making it. So yeah, you got a $500 something, but you worked an entire day for that something. And it is my privilege, right? Like, I'm not saying that I'm entitled or whatever, but the reality is, if you think you can do what I do, then go do it. There's nothing stopping you from going to do what I do, right? So reception overall, super fantastic. Obviously, I'm blessed by having a great personal community, and Star Citizen community in general is above everything. I go make a video about something to do with simulation like car sim, and it's just, well, I might as well be playing Call of Duty. You know, it's just like turn mute channel. It's just crazy. So yeah, it's quite an eye opener. Even you go see DCS channel or our HOTAS, like the joystick people, nobody's happy. You know, but it's just funny to see that. So yeah, we're blessed by having a great community. Sorry.
Good.
No problem. Thank you. The great answer. Nehkara, for you, what has been the reception from the community regarding your reporting?
It's always been really good. It's really weird for me because I'm not like a big I was never really out for limelight, but every time I go to CitizenCon, even the last one I went to, which, man, it's been 4 freaking years, right? Anyway, but people recognize me, and it's weird for me, man.
It is weird.
But no, everyone's always been really supportive and very thankful for our work. You know, we had the same problems everyone has with, you know, silly people in chat and people absconding with our work. But I mean, that's just stuff you deal with as a content creator. I've always been, and CIG, I've always been impressed with how much the community has valued our work. And CIG has always been very appreciative of our work as well. Usually not like in an official capacity, but like the people who work there. A lot of them knew who we were. A lot of them were very thankful of the stuff that we did, and even a lot, as mentioned by David, I think on our last show, even a lot of them used us as an information source because they didn't have the time every week to watch, you know, 4 hours of video that were put out by CIG.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up to at this year's CitizenCon. I'm gonna go up to Nehkara and TheNOOBIFIER and ask for their autograph just to make them uncomfortable.
You already have my autograph.
Yeah, true.
I'd be happy to give you an autograph.
Oh, thank you.
But I'm gonna ask you for yours too because we're all nobodies. Remember?
That's true. This is true.
Right.
This is true. I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do the challenge at the end there, fastcart. I'm going to kind of skip over that and come back. Don't let me forget to come back to it. Let me go to this next question here. How balanced would you rate your reporting about the development of Star Citizen and Squadron 42 on an average from 1 to 10? I'm not talking about your enthusiasm. I'm saying, how do you feel about the way you have talked about the thing? Do you think you've met all your own personal attitudes about, you know, reporting, or do you feel like it could be better? I'm going to go to obviously Nehkara first on this one. Ask him.
Just FYI, on stream you're showing question 8.
Oh, am I? What am I showing? Question 8. Oh, I read the wrong one.
Yeah, I thought you were just skipping it.
No, I was skipping the challenge. I pushed the wrong button. Okay, have you ever received feedback from CIG or the employees about your reporting?
So I touched on this a little bit, but yeah, definitely. You know, we saw in the clip, Chris, thank you for our work. We've received a lot of feedback from CIG over the years about our work. Obviously, these days we don't do a ton, but even still, occasionally someone will drop by and say hi. And of course, we now have a Relay and INN alumnus, inside the company. We managed to make our way in.
What is that been like?
But yeah, it's always been great. Never anything negative, really, over the years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Noobifier, how about you? Any feedback from CIG's employees or anything about what you've been able to put out?
No, I'm like mushrooms. In the dark and fed shit. So basically, the thing is, I have this weird, I am very aware that I might have a psychological, and Jared's an adult and we're all fine, right? But when I started to do this, I was very aware how insulting it must seem for me to take something like his baby, his show, and I cut it up into little nothings and spit it out like it was nothing. And that's not the point. Without his content, I can't make content. So I'm very aware of what's going on there. But, and every once in a while, I think it happened once, Jared's like, most of the time or some of the time Noobifier says something that's not accurate because it's too cut down, there's not enough context. So I tried to come back. If there's something that needs to be amplified, to substantiate a statement so that it's not misunderstood, because again, everyone has their wealth of knowledge in their own head to interpret, but if you don't have all the background, then what is said is misinterpreted. So I'm aware of that. To go out of and say, have I ever got any feedback from Star Citizen? No, and I shouldn't, because if I am the independent content creator that I have to be able to walk both sides of the line. Right. I'm a Star Citizen backer, nothing more. I don't work for the company. I'm not towing the party line or anything like that. If something smells bad, it's bad, and it gets spoken about. And you can do that while having a nice working relationship with the company, but it's not Noobifier CIG. It is Noobifier. And I think most people know that I really am just a game guy, right? So I don't want feedback from CIG because then it taints stains my content, I guess. Hopefully you guys are taking that the way I'm intending it to sound.
No. I think that there's an understanding of separation. I mean, it's one thing if someone, you run to a bar citizen, hey, we really appreciate what you do or blah, 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 blah. But you definitely don't want the feeling of someone whispering in your ear, or even the impression of that, right?
I'm not even
keep
Evo.
Independence. Yeah, he's not even Evo.
Like, they never even offered me Evo. Not that it's something you have to request it, right? I get that. I requested it a long time ago because I thought it would be super good for me to, like when new patch would come out and like STL Youngblood would bam, 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 7 videos, just because he had already seen it all. He already had worked on the scripts, and as soon as the embargo was lifted, boom, content. And I used to feel like completely sandbagged by that because I'm like, these are things that I need to talk about. But then every once in a while it was in PTU, something would change. Like his video would say you have to push like, I don't know, H key binding to make something, and it would invalidate the video. So it was kind of a blessing at the same time. And then of course I get to be surprised by the patch like everyone else, so that when I'm talking about it, I'm speaking about it as if it's the first time, because it has been the first time. So again, also, if something gets leaked, I can talk about it, not worry about I mean, Board Gamer talks about it too, and he's Evo, so what are they going to do? What's CIG going to do, send the lawyers after Board Gamer? What a shit show that would turn out to be, right? The nicest guy on the planet, you're going to go sue him?
So the Noobifier, I got to say, because of your bite-sized content, it's your fault why we don't have hour-long ATVs anymore. This is why we can't have nice things.
Well, it's all my fault. Blame me. I'm your punching bag.
So, but I will say thank you because it saves their sanity, or what's left of it, because you're doing the sort of content now.
All right, FC, so then you.
Did you do? Oh yeah, you did. Okay, so how balanced would you rate your reporting and about the development of Squadron 42 and Star Citizen on the average of 1 being negative and 10 being positive? So Nehkara, I'm sorry, no, Noobifier.
So I'm going to try to, I understand the question. You're basically asking me how much I speak about both sides of the project?
Yes.
Okay, so again, because I'm very reactionary, I basically speak about things that are shown to me, anything that pops up, and it has to be interesting and all the other stuff. It's not that I'm not worried about Squadron 42 at all. Squadron 42 is going to happen whenever Squadron 42 happens. And even if they leak something, like there was that vertical slice, a new vertical slice the other, 2-3 months ago, and it was like 10 minutes of whatever, it was leaked. I didn't really have an opinion about it because I'm like, well, what am I supposed to say about it? It leaked. Like, that's the thing. And it's the same thing with Squadron 42. There should be no leaks, no whatever, there should be no Evo testing or anything about it. It would be funny if they didn't say shit about Squadron 42 until your launcher just said, would you like to install Squadron 42 and play? They don't need to market it. They literally, it just appears. Because the last thing they want to do is say it's coming out in 6 months and then miss that deadline again, right? That's why they're going dark. So again, sorry for going off on a tangent. Balance my work 100% towards Star Citizen, towards PTU. That's what the ships are paying for. And honestly, Squadron 42 is going to come out. It'll be relevant for a month because it's a single-player game. And then it will go away, just like every other single-player game. You'll get Burks and all these people playing it for months and months and months. Right. But the reality is the general community isn't going to be there. So Star Citizen has to be ready, or at least playable, when Squadron 42 goes out, or else they'll miss the bandwagon, right? So yes, tangent, but so 100% Star Citizen. I really don't. It's not that I don't want to play it. I'm going to play the shit out of Squadron 42. It's not on my radar because I've been waiting since 2014, right? It'll happen when it happens.
All right, thank you. Nehkara, how about you? How about would you rate your reporting about the development of Star Citizen or Squadron 42 on the average for 1 being negative and 10 being positive?
Well, my interpretation of this question is that it's about, critical versus fanboy, right?
Kind of, yep.
Yeah, okay. So I think we oscillate. No, we've tended to be on the positive side over the years. We didn't really find much use in being negative. But we also did call them out regularly for things that we think are stupid or ridiculous. Or for example, reaching back here, but it definitely stuck out. We didn't sugarcoat the 2016 CitizenCon when there was no squadron, which was like the whole point of that show.
Yeah, but we got the worm though.
We did get the worm.
Yeah, that's what they gave us, was the worm too. Go ahead.
Worm LTI.
But yeah, no, I think overall we tend to skew positive. There's definitely, if you want to rail on CIG, there are places on the internet to do that. It's not really our channel.
Fair enough. Okay. Here's one to throw at you. There was recently a post on Reddit listing a few of our panelists as shills for Star Citizen. Many in the community feel you deliver good content for us to digest. How do you balance criticism and support you receive? Now, I will say this. Only one of the people on here was named today. And TheNOOBIFIER, you're the person who was picked. Yeah, you were actually on the list, believe it or not, which I was totally surprised.
Relay's gone stealth.
Is that, yeah, he has been under the wire, under the radar.
Nobody knows we still exist.
I know you exist.
Yeah, I think on the link that there was some of the people I could name that were on there that were defined as shills was Montoya was number 1, Morphologist was number 2, Board Gamer was number 3. Who else? TheNOOBIFIER was on the list. Have this link. Believe it or not, wait a minute. Ready for this? Believe it or not, Salty Mike was on the list at the bottom. Which I was.
Yeah, but that's a persona. He actually likes the game more than I do.
I get it, but I'm just saying that's they called him a shill, which I was like, wow, I was really surprised.
So he also went full time, right? So
that's true.
Look at the list. So on the list, there are a couple people there that do this full time.
Yeah.
Now, for example, you're not going to put Captain Richard on the list because the guy plays Star Citizen a lot, but he plays everything else, right? So he's obviously not being paid by CIG. You look at Morphologist. What I was going to say is, earlier I said that there's no reason to make failure to report style videos, right? Where you're just bashing, because that's a very unique, very small subsection of the community. So the last thing the community as a whole wants is crappily edited videos that are pissed off about the game. So then you're going to make a video that's very critical, and it's going to get a lot of people views, but it's not going to grow your channel. You're not going to get a lot of subscribers. It's kind of like that Howard Stern thing, right? Where everyone's listening, but they don't like what they're hearing. They're listening to hear what he's going to say next. So if I really wanted to grow my channel, I know that I would be super positive and just devote myself to guides, AK footage, just make the game look fantastic. And I'm not saying anything negative again, I'm just a statement, right? It's not about anyone else. So as far as shills are concerned, I can say making 30-second videos doesn't pay any money. Like there's no you in YouTube, right? So the patrons, that money is good, but the Patreon money ends up paying for giveaways and all kinds of other stuff. So it really, I'm net zero making money for Star Citizen. It really isn't about shilling for anything. And the company's never given me anything. I got a Valentine's Day buggy because the German Noobifier and myself proof we entered a contest, we won something, but that was it, right? So again, shilling is again, people think you're shilling because they don't understand, or people think you're shilling because they see something that isn't there, or they're jealous or whatever. And I really sound really petty right now. I hope that that's not coming through. The reality is, if you really are pissed off, if you're pissed off with me, then do what I do better, and then you can be the shill. Right?
No, it's a good.
I actually like what I do, and it doesn't matter to me if people think I'm a shill, because 99% of the other people are just happy with what I do. So it's all good.
That's a very good point. And guys, just so you know, we talk about shilling versus white knighting, because sometimes people will interchange those, but I'm glad you distinguished it. Shilling is saying that you're saying a lot of good stuff about something, but basically you're, for lack of a better term, being paid to do it. That's the short version of the definition, that they're receiving something. They can't be just doing this because they really believe it, that kind of thing. And it is sad that there are people who don't realize that they're just people who have enthusiasm for the game, and they want other people. I think you said this earlier, Nehkara. I want other people to know about what this thing is. That's why we're motivated to do it. Nehkara, what about you? Did you guys ever, when you guys were doing all the transcripts and walking around, because I remember CitizenCon 2016, I remember David walking up and down the street doing the man on the street reporting, blah, 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 blah. Were people thinking that, man, these people working for CIG, he's got this professional mic and he's got a camera guy out here with him? What did people think about you guys?
Those were the days, man. That was fun. Oh yeah, people thought all the time that we worked for CIG, or that they were, paying us under the table. Man, I wish they were. That would be great.
But it wasn't true, evidently.
My money?
Yeah, where's our money?
Yeah, we've gotten that accusation many times over the years. It's, we've always just laughed it off for the most part. The most we've ever really gotten from them is interviews. That's it.
Yeah.
And we had, I wrote this article. We talk about this constantly, but I wrote this article years ago, and it got like a lot of play on the Star Citizen subreddit, and then a few gaming news websites decided that I was an employee of CIG.
Wow.
And Yeah, and reported it that I was writing this big article on a fan site as an employee somehow. I don't know how they got there in their minds, but okay.
Wow, that's crazy.
But yeah, so it's happened over the years. It's never really bothered us. We always just said, "Hey, no, we don't get paid," but
it's inevitable. People will always. There's always one person that will say it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a compliment, right?
Yeah, total. In a way, although I'm always kind of like, why? I never really understood the thought process. I'll put it that way. It didn't really compute in my brain. But,
that makes sense. Makes sense.
But yeah, no, it's. I think it's a natural consequence of covering a game. People are gonna be like, "What are you getting out of this?" Well, I enjoy the game, and I find it interesting, so I'm just sharing that.
Yeah. Let me do something real quick here. Go ahead, FC, because we're running over time. Go ahead.
Okay. No, okay. I'll be real quick. I got to say that I got to up my game so I can make the list next time. And can someone send me the link? Because I have no idea what
you want to have a title of a show.
Oh, FC, we know you're shilling.
Yeah, we know you're a shill. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? He is a shill. He gets to go to the front of the line whenever there's Citizen Con. That's all. He is a shill. That's what I got to say. Let me do some redemption.
You got yourself a cart. You could also do it.
I know. I'm trying to sit on his. Let me do some redemption here. These next two videos though are, I think, are reflective of both our guests today. And I've been giving them a hard time by showing the stuff from the past, but I did want to show evolution. And because we're familiar with where they are now, but I did want to give some history to what both these gentlemen have provided to the community. So first I want to show, I'm going to flip this a little bit. I want to show Noobifiers because I've been picking on him more than I have on Nehkara today. So let's take a look at his video. Okay, real quick.
It's a really, really big tank. It's bigger than many tanks I think exist right now. Tank.
We have a new tank and we have a Q&A on a new tank. Hello YouTubers, this is TheNOOBIFIER. While I was having a great time in Germany, CIG released the Q&A for the Storm tank. If you didn't know, they concepted a new Tumbrel light tank during Invictus. It should still be available, but you shouldn't muck about if you want one. It's very likely close to the 30 days since release, and if you get one with War Bond, you still have the chance to get it with lifetime insurance. Let me break down the extra details for you as you've come to expect from the channel. It's the same basic size as the Nova, so anywhere that a tank would normally fit, the Storm will fit also. But because it's lower in height, it may also fit into a Carrack or a Corsair. It's quicker, but its armament make it more suited for a less direct assault in a support role. They don't have an idea for the actual speed due to balancing, but they said that it should keep up with an Ursa. Any Iron Man style moving plates are just there for decoration, and that's the rule of cool. If it looks like it has a countermeasure bank in the pictures, it's intended to be a countermeasure bank on the actual working model. Its armor is listed as average for a light tank, offering more than an Ursa, but nowhere near as much as a Nova. It will be a good off-road performer despite its low profile. Its main size 3 weapon cannot be changed, but that weapon's DPS is higher than other size 3. The weapon, traverse, and elevation ranges and rates will be decided upon after its release for balance, but they did confirm that the turret pops up when the vehicle is in operation, and the driver will still have 360 degrees use of the weapon while on the move. They do not recommend allowing any dismounted enemy to be in close proximity to your Storm while you're in it, and they assured us that the size 0 power plant will be just fine. That's it. In record time, be good to each other, drive safe.
Okay, so there's the Noobifier evolved into the professional that he is there. Videos like this, you kind of gave us the process. And has that process changed at all from what we saw? I mean, obviously it's changed, but is there anything else when you see these videos now and you look at your own content that you feel like you're in a good place is what I basically want to ask you on how you present?
Yeah, but I don't want to get comfortable.
Okay.
Because getting comfortable is like the worst thing you could do, right? So I went to Kuwait, and while I was overseas, my goal was just to make content so that the channel wouldn't die. And I stopped making a lot of the hardcore videos like the guides and stuff, because I couldn't play the game. All I could do is watch what was happening and regurgitate, not regurgitate, that's not the right word, but you know what I mean, interpret it. But I have noticed that it's important to keep evolving, right? You always have to try something else. So for example, 8K is something I've been working on. I have the ability to make a video in 8K. Why? Nobody cares, right? 3 people care. But it's no different than when I went and bought a better microphone. 4 people don't listen to it on their phone. But it's important that it sounds good, because when I hear it, I want to hear myself or my video as good as it can be, right? Most people publish at 1080p. It's perfectly fine. Most people watch it on their phone. So that doesn't matter. You still push harder. And it was really funny. This isn't like some kind of a measuring contest, but I made 4K videos, and like the next week, Richard, Board Gamer, he contacted me and goes, how did you make 4K? Why did you make 4K? I'm like, what do you mean, why? You know, so anyways, and then his video is in 4K. Now everyone's is in 4K. So I'm not saying that I'm the responsible or I'm the reason, but even CIG content was 1080p.
Yeah.
For the longest time. And it should be, it's fine. It doesn't, nobody cares. It's just screenshots and stuff. It's Jared's face. But why not make it 4K? Anyways, hopefully that answered.
Yeah, the fact that you're always looking to do better and be better is good. It's not like you've reached the plateau, which is always great for anybody who's doing
takes away the fun.
Yep.
Right? What's the point of doing it if you're not going to get better?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, thank you. This other video that we're going to show now, in the car, I hope this doesn't embarrass you guys too much, but I was actually when I was looking for your headshot, I decided to go back and just try to find something recent, and I stumbled across, I literally just clicked on the Twitch and it landed at this particular moment, because I didn't watch the show last week because I was in Alaska. And so I clicked on it and I was like, oh, this has got to be freaking a sign. So let me play this video for you.
I got a weird question for you both. How much do you think that our work over the years has influenced the way that CIG put out information?
9%.
I mean, I don't think it was. If you mean us as the community, as a collective of every single member that's been doing stuff either with or for Star Citizen, then quite a considerable amount. But us specifically, they've probably learned not to ever come on certain podcasts ever again.
Well, thank you, Tip. I'm glad you think it's at least 5%.
No, I honestly think it's higher than that, because I remember we started doing the monthly report, the monthly summary.
Than 9?
We started doing a monthly summary, and then they started their monthly. I think we genuinely highlighted some things. I do.
We used to steer it a little bit.
We did.
I don't
not
think
anymore.
We haven't had our hands. We haven't had our hands on the steering wheel in years.
No, years.
But
none of us have had time to do anything to have hands on the steering wheel.
We used to be, of all things, we used to be a household name at CIG. Everybody there knew us.
I mean, yeah, we when we used to do the transcripts and things like that, it was great. It was useful, but now they do it themselves, really.
Yep.
So,
but that's better.
It's worked out well.
It's great. Fun story for anyone that doesn't know. Back in the day, we did transcripts of all of CIG's live and whatever videos, and we'd put out, this is everything that they talked about. And
we also did summaries, we
did summaries. Yeah. In 2015, I visited the Manchester studio and was thanked by multiple CIG devs who were like, the only way we know what's happening in the US is by reading your summaries. Like, we read your summaries to know what's happening in the rest of the company. And I thought that was really fun. And I'm glad that we're no longer needed. I'm glad that they've improved, honestly. Like, it's great. They're fantastic at communication now, I think.
I wanted to show that because, it was just kind of a reflective moment for you guys. And again, I said earlier, thank you for the work that you guys have done, because people don't know a lot of the hard work. Noobifier, you reflected to this earlier too. You talked about the amount of hours that's put in to do this stuff. And fastcart will tell you, I'll let fastcart tell you, I went on vacation. I went on vacation last week. I was in Alaska from the 10th through the 18th. And when I came back, fastcart, tell them what you told me when I came back.
Griffin, you can keep the job. I don't want to keep the job.
Yeah, the amount of
crazy.
time you put in.
So many people have asked me for help, like how do you do it and whatever. They're piss and vinegar, and they're all out there making content, and it's really good content. And they publish something, and they get 3 views, and they're like, okay, we'll make another one. And it's like 4 views, and they make 5 views and 6 views. They've got like 6 videos, and then they just disappear. Because they say this is a complete waste of time. It is a complete waste of time. It's the first thing I'll tell anybody. Don't do this.
No, it is.
Right.
The amount of
Fair
time.
point. Yeah, it's true.
When you go sit in the car? Oh, I thought Nehkara was saying something.
Oh, I was just saying it's true. It's
yeah.
You are kind of throwing your personal time into the fire. Now there are a lot of people who appreciate it, but well, you hope there are lots of people who appreciate it. But yeah, you do have those days when you're like, there's nobody watching.
Yeah,
I've always been of the opinion that I've been a part of Star Citizen. I do this to hang out with the folks and talk with people like Noobifier and Nehkara and other guests in the past. Because I try to do this for fun. The moment this doesn't seem fun anymore, I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's still fun for me. So I'm going to keep doing it for myself.
Yeah,
and that's why we've changed over the years, right? We just didn't have the time anymore, and also, the number of people who were at Relay shrank significantly as life moved on, right? So we keep doing Relay because we like to hang out and chat about Star Citizen. It's we've been doing it forever.
Yeah, Nehkara, tell people who those people are on the screen for so that they'll know in case they haven't seen it.
Ah, yes. So you may recognize my ugly face over there, but I'm in the middle of a brand new merchantman on there. Anyway, we also have David, also known as Eris. He is an original member. I call him an original member. He started with INN like a week or 2 after we began. The wonderful Shiver Bathory, who started out as a fan, I believe. No, he did. Yeah, he started out as a fan of INN, and then came on to help us with a bunch of transcript work, and became an integral member many years ago of Relay.
Yeah.
So we're now basically 3 for the most part. Before that we were 4. We had Jake, but then CIG decided to steal him, which we're totally cool with.
Right. You guys had him drop in every once in a while just to come on and just say hi kind of thing, right? Every once in a while I've seen Jake. Yeah, but he's not a regular like he used to be back in the day.
No, he's too busy.
Yeah. These guys are pretty... they're still on every Sunday. Matter of fact, tell people when people can see you, Nehkara. When can people see you guys?
Oh yeah, we're on Saturday evenings. We are live at 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific, on every Saturday at twitch.tv/relaysc. And come check us out or watch our videos back on YouTube. Which is at RelaySC _SC, sorry.
Yep.
But yeah, we're be happy to have you.
Yeah. Noobifier, where can people find your videos?
On YouTube, normally. I do have a second channel, Noobifier 2. It's relatively inactive, but it's meant to keep people away from... People follow me for Star Citizen, so if I do something that's not like disgustingly not Star Citizen, I don't put it on the main channel, right? Something else, like, I don't know, a Bar Citizen maybe. But anyways, so yeah, mostly there. Twitch, Twitter, all of it. But Twitch, when will I be on Twitch? Right? That's the question. And it's when Star Citizen gives me the desire to play a lot, frequently, because it does, but it kind of comes in waves. When it's sustainable, because what I don't want to do is start up a Twitch channel and then have it just do nothing, right? There's 3,000 people that are following me on Twitch. Why?
They're anticipating. They're anticipating.
They're ready.
They're ready. Yeah, they're waiting. That's nice to know, though. I got one final question for these guys, and this is going to put them in the hot seat a little bit, but I'm curious to see what they answer. I hope I formatted this correctly. I did.
On a Sunday morning, come on.
Yeah, I know. Fastcart, why don't you go ahead and hit them
now?
Yeah, go ahead and hit them with that question there, Fastcart.
All right, so in many ways, CIG's communication regarding the game development can be considered above average in some areas and lacking in others. If you worked at CIG, what would you do differently to make things better for the company as well as the community? Let's start with Nehkara for this one.
So, their transparency has always been well-intentioned and better than most game companies. They are trying to do probably one of the hardest things I could imagine, which is provide live game development coverage of an MMO on a scale that's never been even like considered, really, other than Star Citizen. I think where they fall down is when they make a big decision that they know is going to be controversial. I feel like sometimes, especially in the past, they would hold on to that decision, not wanting to face the backlash, and then they would wait way too long, and they would message it like right before it happened. And I think that, or as it was happening, looking at you, 2016 CitizenCon, Chris Roberts on stage going, yeah, Squadron's not going to be shown today. What?
Sorry.
I was sitting in the seat behind you. I remember that year. I was literally behind you guys.
Yeah, you sure were. But I think that's where I would focus is if you are making a decision internally that, first of all, if you think there's even the possibility of a big decision point like that, you need to start looking at it way ahead of time and message the result of that discussion as soon as possible, because I do think that they sit on things sometimes for far too long if they think they're going to be controversial.
Yeah.
So I think that getting out ahead of bad news, I think, is where I would focus. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
NOOBIFIER?
John? So first of all, I would like to say that I don't want Jared or Jake's job.
No.
Okay, that's obvious, because there's no win. There's never a win. It's a series of not losses. So it's funny because we joke about, you go back in history and you always see these things like, what were they thinking, right? Like, what were you thinking? So you got like, whatever you're going to do, pivot and do the opposite, and that'll be a win. Right, that's a joke, but all of those face palm issues that look so clear in hindsight, those I'm frustrated. I'm going to contradict myself because I don't want Jared's job and it's an impossible job and all that other stuff. But you take something like the stupid motorcycle handle, the Christmas thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay? Sucks. Unfortunate. And that's not even the worst thing that's happened. That one's like super minor compared to some other crap. But all you would need to do is have an Evocati team, but not a Evocati team of content creators. And it would be really funny, be like, hey, Board Gamer, we're about to do this. What do you think? And he'd go, oh, fuck, don't do that. Right? Don't do that. That's madness. Give them the whole bike for free, not the handle.
Yeah.
Right? If you got all 12, you get the bike for free. It doesn't cost anything for the company. I would probably buy a second one anyways, just because I want to be a bro. So it's almost like, as far as transparency is concerned, I feel like we've gotten less, but I understand why we have less, because it's like an insatiable desire for information. Also, development has changed. When there was 1,000 things to be done, you could talk about 1,000 things, but now we're getting into the very, very focused. It's all server meshing, or spaceships. No one cares about spaceships. Everyone's focusing on this little thing. When it was this big, there was lots of things to talk about, and that's where the content came from. You got Ben Lesnick talking about all of the theory crafting, and we're going to have this, do that, and everything like that. And that's fun and exciting. But as we get this seemingly drought, it's not that less things are happening or fewer things are happening. It's that there are fewer things that can be spoken about or repeated over and over again and just bashed your head in. So I understand why it seems to be scaling back, and I've often loved the fact Jared just takes time off, right? He just takes time off because the patch is out and there's nothing to talk about. So don't talk about anything. And people take that like such offense to that. It's like, oh, I'm paying money for my subscriber and you owe me content. That is not, that's not the transaction. And if you don't like it, stop paying for the subscriber. I'm not telling people to go unsubscribe. I'm just saying no one's holding a gun to your head saying you got to pay for Star Citizen, right? That's never happened. Even though it's shilly and predatory and all the other words, like the buzzwords that people use, it's your own fault if you're not happy, right? So with regards to transparency, there's no way to move forward with having the same level of transparency we had before. It's just not the culture that we're in anymore, right? Because people hold everything accountable. You got INN. They make a transcript. Well, I'm going to go index that, or I'll go on to Wiki or R Citizen somewhere, and I'm going to say, you told us, Chris Roberts, blah, 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 blah. You promised. It's like not a promise. It's an obscure mention in a thing somewhere, you know?
No, I hated that every freaking time. Everything that came out of anybody's mouth was a promise. No, it's not. They're just talking about what the game they want to make.
It's not a contract.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
Yeah.
Anyways, I know this. Everyone knows this. It's just some people just like to be pissed off.
Yeah.
Right? And that's fine. That's their right, but they can do it away from me, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, the suggestion you made earlier. We've talked about this on the show before. I've said that I wish CIG had and I know it's so difficult to do this because people get into the whole, well, why can't I be on there? It's kind of like when Evocati came out, right? It's like, well, I'm paying for the game. How come they get to play the game first, you know? But if you talk to anybody who's in Evo, they'll tell you it's a lot of work. And it's not, sometimes it's just log in the game for 20 minutes and don't do anything. You know, who wants to spend their day doing that, right?
Or have a crash over and over again.
Oh, right,
and
exactly.
And people say, why aren't you testing it? Because it's literally not working.
Exactly. And so you gave the example about the motorcycle handle. And I've said that I wish that there was I don't know, like in Eve, you had a Senate, a council, whatever, but some people that they brought in, they could rotate them, but people who they understand about the game, they educate them about development, but then, like you said, bounce things off of them. This is
movie industry
has
it. It's called a public screening.
Yeah, public screening, right. Just have that group that you can send some stuff out to and say, just give us your feedback, you know. And if people say, if you get 8 out of 9 people to say this sucks, then maybe you say, well, here's the reason why we're doing it. Then it may go from 8 to 4 people now because they understand, well, okay, well, if you're going to do that, then this makes sense. Do it.
And you articulate, like you said, you articulate in advance something's coming.
Yep.
And this is why. Don't just throw it out there.
Exactly.
You know, because then people are confused. So it's obviously going to be misinterpreted. Yeah. And like I said, when Jake is writing something, not to single out a guy, but when a person is writing something, they have the full context of what's going on in their head. So they need to send that for QC. They need to send it to someone who knows nothing about what they're talking about and say, what does this message tell me? Right? What does it tell you? Tell me what I just told you. And then it could do damage control. The thing is, though, again, people love to hate when there's nothing to talk about. There are some content creators who will just go off on a tangent knowing that what they're talking about is complete bullshit just to stir the pot. And I'm not singling anyone out, but it's really selfish. That's a selfish thing to do because you're just getting everyone pissed off for no reason. You're going to get the views and then you know that it's going to get fixed. So why did you even bother?
And then I just want to say that sometimes when CIG just can't win because they announced CitizenCon tickets like a week ago, and now we covered this on Soul Talk on Thursday. There are people complaining like, "Oh, why you only give us 2 weeks notice?" I'm like, "No, they announced CitizenCon back in December, and you can say the date back in February. This was coming, and it's like
people,
sometimes they can't win."
Don't worry about those people. I know that sounds super stupid, right? There's like 4 people that are pissed off, and they knew it was coming, and they're just wanting to bitch about something. And it's the same thing that people are pissed off that the price went up. It's a VIP. Even the non-VIP tickets are super limited. And Chris knows that he could charge $1,000 a ticket, and people still pay for it, right? So what is he supposed to do? Make it $50 and not cover the cost of the show? It's a 2-day show. It doesn't make any sense to me. Again, people are just going to be pissed off. You have a guy who's going to go buy a Javelin, and the next week he's pissed off that the show is going to cost $300. Please, give me a break.
Fire is always cutting to the chase. Okay, so let's real quick. We're gonna wrap this up. We do want to talk about, and I'm gonna come back and talk to our guests in just a moment. We are, as we mentioned earlier, we are doing a charity fundraiser for St. Jude Children's Hospital. This year, we are taking on a really big target goal of $10,000. We want this to be raised by October 22nd, which is the weekend of CitizenCon. That's our target date. Some of you have already given toward that. We are already at how much are we at, fastcart? I can't read. Is it $930? $930.
Yeah,
we're $70 short of our next goal, which is $1,000. And I'm going to tell you what you're going to get, but I want to show you the video for that real quick, and then we're going to talk about what you will get at our next goal point.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and YouTube are teaming up to help end childhood cancer.
In September, supporters from across the nation come together during Childhood Cancer Awareness Month to raise money for the kids of St. Jude.
And that's when YouTube gamers will be posting videos and live streaming to raise funds to support the life-saving mission of St. Jude.
At St. Jude, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because all a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Money raised also supports the research that leads to groundbreaking medical discoveries that St. Jude freely shares around the globe.
I can only imagine as a parent the relief that they feel when someone like St. Jude steps in.
I think it's a really good lesson for us to realize that we need to do more, and we can do more.
It is a huge step in the right direction. A huge step in helping just people and giving back.
It's all for good, and we have a responsibility, a social responsibility to help out.
Find your favorite video or live stream during St. Jude Play Live on YouTube for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month and donate to this amazing cause.
Your support will help St. Jude further its incredible mission.
Finding cures, saving children.
Let's end childhood cancer together.
Okay, so we are doing St. Jude Play Live, so you guys will know that. And I want to show you what our tiers are here. We've already achieved our first tier of $500. We gave away a Soul Citizen gift package. Actually, we gave away a gift card. The person was happy about that. If we reach $1,000, we are going to be giving away a Chairman's Club package, which will include a Chairman's Club cap, executive polo, messenger bag, journal, and key ring. So Nehkara, you could go to CitizenCon and walk around and show how concierge you are, whether you're concierge or not. So that'll be that at 1,000. At the $2,000 mark, we're going to give away one of the UEE packages, the naval package with the field jacket and the Navy cap. At $5,000, fastcart is going to do, he doesn't know this, a 12-hour live stream. No, the Soul Citizens are going to do a 12-hour live stream featuring gameplay with special guests. Hopefully these two guys will come in and drop in that day. But we're going to be giving away a $29.48 and $29.49 digital goodie pack. That's from CitizenCon. Those are hard to find. Also, we have a great person who's anonymously donating some things to us, which is fabulous for this person. We're also going to give away a Sons of Centauri pack and a Razor Dual pack during that stream. Maybe some more stuff too. Fastcart, this anonymous donator, actually wants to give us more stuff to give away, which is messing. I'm feeling guilty. I'm actually feeling guilty.
Right.
He's got like 6 more ships he wants to give us, so we'll have to see what we're going to do about that.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, at the $4,000 mark, we're going to be giving away Fastcart's favorite ship, and obviously Nehkara's, the Banu Merchantman. We're going to be giving one of those away. At $5,000, we're going to give away an Origin 890 Jump. And if we reach $7,500, we're going to give away an Exploration Pack. Last but not least, and I didn't realize that this screen was chopped off. Where is it at? That's crazy. Where's
7 javelins.
7. No. We're going to give away. No, I have to bring this up a little bit. If we get $10,000, we're going to give away an Endeavor Master Set. Forget that jump thing, guys. The jump is a typo. But we're going to give away an Endeavor Master Set if we reach the $10,000 mark. And we have to do this by CitizenCon. So you guys have been contributing. You guys have been fabulous. So far, we are almost there. So I'm hoping that we're going to hit it by this weekend. Let me go ahead and get past all that. And I want to go back to our guests. And where's the page at fastcart? I've got to find it. Let's go here. Okay. Let's do some shout outs to some folks here. Let's Nehkara, once again, tell people where they can find you.
So you can find Relay at twitch.tv/relay_sc or on YouTube at relay_sc. I'm on Twitter at Nehkara. Same spelling that you can see on the video here. That's me. Come and say hi.
Awesome. Noobifier, how about you?
Mainly on YouTube, Noobifier1337. And if you guys are watching and you really want to see another side of me, the video that I just did where I went to Germany, came back, we basically blogged our whole trip. It would be super cool. The video took a lot of time and effort, and it's that thing. Remember I said you make a video because you want to make it? No, hardly any people watched it. I had a great time doing it, and I would do it again. If you 58 people here haven't seen it, it would make me very happy if you just go watch it.
Very nice.
It has nothing to do with Star Citizen, though.
Yeah, Noobifier, if you would, can you send that video to Fastcart real quick, or send it to me, and then we'll put it in the chat for folks to go directly to it versus just going to the page.
Send it to me. I'll do it.
That would be great.
And Griffin, we do have one Q&A if we want to cover that.
Oh, we do? Oh boy, somebody actually has a question for us. You got to be kidding me. Why don't you go ahead and read it, Fastcart?
All right, so this is from Pop and Space. Firstly, this is from the code. Firstly, thank you for your informative films. Does the panel believe that because content creators serve as an advertisement for CIG, they should receive insider assistant tools and or access to CIG outside of the usual information? You are a service provider. That's from Pop and Space. So, Noobifier, you're looking here. Go ahead and take that first.
So I said it before, I'm a gamer and I want to make content about what I see. I said earlier my goal was to make it so that more people had access or easier access understanding Star Citizen, or they can choose if they wanted to join or not. But where I draw the line is if CIG actually starts helping me. If they were to give me the script of what's happening inside Star Citizen, sure, that would help, but it really would destroy my objectivity. I would fall for the trap. So I'm happy with things exactly the way they are. And that way also, if something goes pear-shaped or I say something incorrect, I don't work for the company. There's that level of separation, which is super useful, right?
Good point.
So for the card, do you think you should receive inside assistant tools and or access to CIG outside of usual information? You are a service provider.
I don't think there's any sorry, gathering my thoughts here. So I don't think there should be anything like provided on an outreach basis from CIG. I do think the only thing that we ever really wanted from them, and the only thing we ever really got was interviews, was access to people for interviews. And that was basically just 100% going after trying to get more interesting information for the community, asking community written questions and community source questions to like specific devs, and that's really that was really the heart of what we wanted to do. We only usually did that Like we did a little bit of we had a couple of people come on our show, but a lot of it was based around CitizenCon. Yeah. I don't think that CIG should be trying to set up YouTube and Twitch creators as their mouthpiece.
Advertiser.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't think it does any harm to allow players to sorry, I don't think it does any harm to allow employees to do interviews, for example, which is really all we ever wanted.
Yeah, I think there's concerns about information coming out. And I know someone, I think Noobifier referenced earlier about the incident with Nikki, and I remember that. And I remember people throwing a lot of shade, not knowing that there was actually a personal relationship that existed between Chris, Nikki, and Sandy. But I agree. The other thing is that things have grown, and the question becomes, who's the person that gets to have the interview, right? Why does this person get to have an interview and we can't have an interview, or blah, 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 blah. We've always tried to be as neutral as possible with CIG as possible. People once asked me, has CIG ever given you anything for giveaways? And I'm like, no. The only time they ever gave us anything for giveaways was when it was a community event. When we did the virtual bar Citizen, they donated toward that, but it was not to us. It was to the community. But we're not one of the people. Now, I'm not saying anything's wrong when CIG gives somebody a ship or something to give away, but the whole idea of if you speak about this positively, or if you have some level of exposure, that CIG, evidently you have some special CIG, access. Noobifier gets that because he must be sending him the scripts ahead of time. That's how come he's able to put those videos out within 30 minutes. That's not the case. It's just a lot of hard work that takes place.
And it's also, if, for example, they associate with certain content creators, and that content creator goes on a murderous rampage, right, or gets drunk and crashes into a tree, well, that's not going to help anybody. It's one thing if Jared gets drunk and falls off the subway, then that's funny. But the reality is, if I do it, now I'm really, me personally, I shouldn't have enough power to change the company. That's not a good thing. I shouldn't be that associated with the company. I guess
that's a good point.
So what you're saying is I should strike off Murderous Rampage from my bucket list. So I'm going to do that right now. Thank you for reminding me. And I'm going to say that they faced some backlash from the Gamescom presentation a while ago when they had like 3 or 4 streamers on that. And I think there was one time when they gave away a PC, and they don't do that anymore.
Well, no, they gave away, I think, Saurus. Saurus and Board Gamer were 2 that received a PC. And then Saurus stopped playing Star Citizen.
He said thanks. He said thanks and bye. Yeah, that was it. Okay, well, listen, let's wrap up the show real quick. Fastcart, why don't you talk about next week? Soul Talk. I'll talk about voices in the next week.
Okay, yeah, Soul Talk, 9 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UTC. That's what we talk about, what's going on in the community, with the community. We have opened up our Discord for people to come in and join and talk to us. We cover Star Citizen Live, ISC, Machinima, and what else is going on that week. So that is Soul Talk, 9 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UTC.
And on Saturday, Soul Voices, 3 p.m. Eastern time, where we go one-on-one with the community. You get to come in and sit in and ask questions and comments about the topics we picked from Reddit and Spectrum and from the gaming industry. And we have guests come on from time to time to assist with that, but that's Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Next Sunday, we are doing a show called Station to Station. We're going to be talking about, there's going to be a little bit of theory crafting here, but we're going to talk about the idea of, a lot of times with Star Citizen, people have talked about, I want to go do mercenary missions. I want to do this. I want to do that. But there is a infrastructure that CIG seems to be building in this game where people will be necessary to be working out of space stations, believe it or not. Whether it's loading cargo into ships like the Hull C that we're anticipating, whether they become meeting places, whatever the case may be, those space stations will be more than just for refueling and grabbing a bite to eat. So we're going to be talking about that next week on our show, Station to Station, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I do want to make a quick footnote. If you are here, thank you guys for jumping in and watching the show. We did not put any tweets out or anything like that. This show was being set up for pre-record that we are going to run again tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So thank you guys for who came in. You can watch it a second time if you'd like to. But just so you'll know, we did it because of time zone issues that we thought we were going to have. And so that's why we're on today. This is not a new time for our show. We will be returning to our normal time at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
I'm going to prove the pre-recorded show is live. I'm going to say hi, fastcart. Hi, fastcart.
He can say hi to himself. Thank you guys once again to Nehkara and Noobifier. We really, really appreciate you guys finding time to wake up this morning early and be on the show with us. So thank you guys for doing that. FC, who do we have? Do we have anybody to raid? I didn't even look.
No, but I'll look it up real quick.
You're going to look up somebody for me to raid? All right.
Yeah, sorry about that.
To set up
it's early in the morning.
I understand.
That's my excuse.
Let's see
all right, so
who should we go to?
The Astropub, he's live.
Okay, he's on. Oh boy, he's on early. Holy smoke!
Yeah, he is on early. So you need the link, or you got it?
All right, no, I got him. Okay, we are going to send you guys over to our good friend Paul Shelley at the Astropub. Once again, thanks to Nehkara, thank you Noobifier, thank you fastcart for being here. Hopefully, we will see you guys in the verse real soon.
Very happy to be here.
Thank you there, Super5, for that follow. Appreciate you dropping in. And as always, as we tell you guys every week, peace, love, and soul. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.